Hope you've had a good Christmas. It's been alright, obviously. Not allowed to eat too much. But I've enjoyed myself. Nice to spend some time at home with family, not grabbing at work. So, Wednesday, after a morale-sapping defeat against Coventry last weekend, going into the Christmas period, travelled down to Deepdale, followed and backed brilliantly by 5,000 Wednesday fans looking to get back on track. There were some forced changes for Wednesday. Obviously, Callum Patterson took a bang-on head against Coventry. He went off, and I think the protocol is 10 days if you've sustained any sort of head injury now, the risk of concussion and stuff, and rightly so. And also, Bambo Diaby, who probably could have sustained a concussion when he stuck his nut on Kitchen of Coventry. A shame as well, because I thought Bambo, in the last 3 or 4 games, probably the best 3 or 4 games he's played for Wednesday, I thought he was just getting into form, made some fantastic blocks in that game, albeit a defeat. And now he's missing 3 after sticking Notting. Although, to be fair, I mean, nobody condones violence, but going to stick nuts on anyone, it may as well be that Kitchen. There's something about him, right? Anyway, so, changes for Wednesday. Valentin came in for Patterson, and Heckway came in for Big Bambo. So it was a sort of back 5. Dawson in goal. Valentin, Bernardo, Heckway, Firmao and Johnson. Midfield, Masaba, Volks, Bannon and Gassama, with young Kadamatri continuing at centre forward. And Wednesday hoping that they could get their 2 speed demons up there supporting him. Those changes meant a return to the side for Michael Heckway. I'm really pleased about that. I've been wondering all season why Heckway can't get a sniff, to be perfectly honest with you. Proper no-nonsense defender. Heads, kicks, tackles. I suppose you could say Diaby's been doing that. But Heckway's the more experienced man. So he came into the side. Wednesday, sort of 5 strung across the back there. Valentin in at right side and Johnson at left side. Busy afternoon it were going to be for Volks and Bannon though. Especially if they overloaded us in there, which they did. The first 5-10 minutes, it was a little bit seat at pants, weren't it? Because they really come out at blocks flying Preston. And for a side that's struggling for their own form, you know, I think of the last 5 games, form's probably not even as good as ours. I couldn't see it. They got the lad out on the left-hand side was a really handy player. Shirt sleeves down over. I'm not a big fan of that game, me. But he was a really lively player. And over on the right-hand side, they got a kid with ponytail pots, and another lad who was a sort of, I won't say what right wing. They were sort of drifting, weren't they? But they were playing a lot of cross-field passes very quick. They were moving it about very quickly. And Wednesday we were having a bit of a chase in the first sort of 10 minutes. Holmes, that was the other lad's name, because it was him who had first shot at game. Really good move by them, zipping it down the right hand side, and he blazed one of it bar when he could have probably got a cross into the back stick. But a really bright opening for Preston, and despite tremendous backing from Wednesday fans, you just thought, got to get in gear sooner. This could be a long afternoon. Despite them having opening 10, probably best chance in opening 10 come to Wednesday with a rare attack. Gassama did really well down left hand side, and I was just about to start spitting feathers with him because he's beat man. And when you're playing up front, you make it. You see your winger get ball, you see him going outside, you make your run, he cuts back in, so you're having to jog back out so you're not offside. Then he goes outside again, so you make your run, then he comes back in again. I'm just about to start, but he did really well. Turned 2 of their lads in and flipped one over to the back stick. Looked like it had evaded everybody. He'd actually spotted brilliantly a run from Volks, who, well, he's got his header completely wrong. I'm not saying it's the easiest chance it will, but he'll be disappointed that weren't on target, really. Sort of fired him out at cannon at it and iron wide. Kadamatri's charging about up front, but he's largely on his own. One good ball, I think it was from Johnson, really good turn. As it come in, just knocked it round corner, spunt man, got brought down. There, I'd got a booking for that. But these were rare Wednesday attacks. You know, the first 15 minutes, Preston really going at us. And we had to weather that storm defensively. The lad on the left, like I said, Cuff Boy, really lively played, and Valentin had to be on his toes to keep up with him. That Holmes nearly got in again. Masaba faffing about with ball. They broke a little quick 1-2, and Masaba, to be fair to him, had really bust his balls to get back in. He'd spotted a mistake that he'd made, and he raced back in and made a covering block himself. But Wednesday's possession, when they did get it, was a little bit rushed, a little bit sloppy, but I think a lot of credit for that's got to go to Preston, because they were closing us down quickly. And they'd got at times I couldn't tell exactly what their shape was. I didn't know if they were playing a full-back and a winger, or sometimes like a winger that was tucked inside, sort of behind a striker. It was quite fluid, and they were causing us a lot of problems. Despite their decent start out, Wednesday took the lead. Marvin Johnson. It's a good goal. We break down the left hand side. What I like about this is Marvin's making a run on a sort of inside left channel. Now he doesn't know that the ball's going to get there. They've got some bodies in there, but he gambles on it. A lot of people, they're making that run. If the ball don't come straight away, they'll stop run. Ugh. But he keeps going. He gambles it's going to get there. And when he charges into the box, it's a fantastic finish. And I've talked to anyone who watches this channel knows, I've been talking all season. I wanted to see Marvin introduced and getting him into the box in that sort of inside left position where he seems to score all his goals from, because he's a calm finisher. I'm not saying he's a second coming, which seems to be a theme that gets chucked to if you say you're glad Marvin Johnson's got brought back in from cold. But what he does do is he doesn't twat everything. When he gets in box, he's very much about keeping it on target. If you look at a lot of his goals, he's not going to bust top corner at netting, do you know what I mean? Tries to keep them hard, low and accurate. And again, even though he's hit this hard and low, as he strikes through the ball, there's enough of instep on there, because you know what he's trying to do. He's trying to make sure it's a controlled finish, and he does it. Terrific goal. And that's what he's capable of. And in a team that's not scoring enough goals, as I said before, you've got to have people in other positions, in midfield, centre half, whatever it is, chipping in. And Marvin Johnson is a midfield player who chips in with goals. So pleased for him. Pleased he's been brought in from the cold. It only makes the decision to not register him at the beginning of the season look even more lunatic. A complete waste of a squad place by not having him. And a waste of someone who brings a natural balance to us, and as I said, has got that calmness in front of goal. We then pick up a couple of injuries, and Bambo's out suspended. Smith's apparently got an injury. We don't know what it is, because nobody's saying what it is and nobody's asking what it is, but he's apparently out. We're coming up to a window, and what you're thinking is we need to strengthen now. We've got a squad that people will argue whether it's good enough to stay up or not. I believe it is. I always have done. And with a few additions, we make that case even stronger. What you can't afford to do then is be picking up these injuries that might affect the transfer business, because I'm sure Danny Rull's already got a list of players and areas that he wants to strengthen. You don't need an injury crisis in one particular position that then has to change the planning. If we've only got a limited budget and you're looking for a centre forward, you don't suddenly want to be having to spend that money, for example, on a centre half because you're having a crisis, because Bambo suspended, Dominic Iorfa out for however long with his hamstring. So now Firmino has gone down, left leg. I was trying to look, I couldn't really tell whether it were front quad or knee. What we don't need is injuries in that position. Then Will Volz goes down. He was stretching out about 5 minutes before he went down actually as well. So hopefully that's just a little bit of a pull and nothing too serious. But with Wednesday playing that sort of two-man midfield with him and Bannon, him going off was a big blow. Especially considering the form he's been in this month. I mean, I would say, and it's a little bit of sod's law because Dominic Iorfa were probably my player of the month for October. Gets injured. My player of the month for November, no questions asked, would be Will Volks. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. He's now injured. It's like a curse, isn't it, that as soon as people come in and start looking like they're going to do a job for us, no more so than other Diaby. Ironically, against Preston in home game, I thought he were terrific for 40 minutes or whatever it were, and then he's been ruled out. So, injuries, bit of a reshuffle for Wednesday. Palmer come on. Well, at first he come on, he sort of filled in midfield because what was happening with Volks, there was a bit of a reshuffle there. But he eventually ended up in the back five, on sort of right side at three centre-halves. And Byers came in for Volks. And I like George Byers a lot. But he's a different sort of player. And again, I was a bit worried that them two in there could get overrun. But what Wednesday did in that sort of passage just after those subs especially was Masaba started dropping in a lot more and sort of making a three in there and then helping out when he could, which were good to see. Although in a way it does invite it on. Preston's had most at ball, but Wednesday's had one or two attacks, including goal, where we've looked quite dangerous. A couple of times, Karamatri nearly got away, and just final touch went away from him, or somebody got a toe in there. So we've got a leading rate, and we've got something to defend, which is good, but it's also sometimes when you've got something to defend, mentally, that's what it makes you want to do, is defend it. And that second half was a tough watch. And I don't mean it was a tough watch in that Wednesday were particularly poor. I thought they worked the socks off to a man. But I could feel my heart pounding. Honestly, one of the things I could feel my heart pounding watching it. It's a long time since I've been that nervous watching a game. And I think it's because we'd got that. We'd got that goal, and essentially, whenever you're holding the goal, you've got them 3 points, haven't you? And the second, I don't know what Lowe said to them at half time, because I thought they were a better team first half with ball. A little bit sloppy at times, but probably better than us. But second half, they really come at it. Flying out at traps like a greyhound. And they were chucking kitchen sinking it. And as I said, same first off, they moved the ball from side to side very, very quick. So they got, what did I say his name? Lowe and Potts down one side, Miller down other side, and they weren't afraid to whack it across. We were chasing shadows a bit actually. In fact, it was that Miller. I mean, he did a good job against him, Valentin, because he was probably the standout player on park, that Miller, for me. Especially, and it's tricky, you're a right-footed right-back, you're playing one of these inverted wingers, you know he's going to try and come inside, but there's always that danger that you prepare for him coming inside and ball goes down the line for overlapping fullback. So I thought Valentin did well, even though he was still their most dangerous player, if that makes sense. But he hit a tremendous shot. He came down left hand side, he played a lovely little 1-2, opened his body, and he crashes it against bar. Yeah, could easily have been 1-1. And with the way they'd come out after a break, it probably wouldn't have been undeserved. Wednesday, for their part, they looked a little bit shell-shocked. They were sloppy in passing, and we did give ball away a lot. in some senses I didn't mind that because we were cleared in lines, and I'm a big believer in cleared in lines. I know it's old fashioned, I know it's not very popular these days, it's keep hold at ball, move it about, and I get that. But I'm always like, do that. If you're doing that, do it in their half. Do you know what I mean? When it's our half, I've got nothing wrong with putting your foot through it. And for a good half an hour, it would all Preston. It would all Preston. And I think you'd probably have to go back to Southampton game, where the teams really, really dominated us like that. But lads stuck to it. Bannon charging about all of it, show. Palmer getting a foot in. He made a couple of fantastic blocks actually to stop crosses. He's looking fitter week by week. But they slunk ball in a lot. They've got a big lad up front whose name escapes me. I've probably got it scribbled down somewhere. But he were an handful. But Heckway, he really stood up to it today, and it was the sort of game that suited him. And I don't know if he'd have played if Bambo had not, stuck knots on Kitchen. But it was a game. It was almost handpicked for the Heckway today because it was edit, kick it, volley it, and I like him. He's a proper centre half. He's probably smashed that into the stand about 6 times today. Good. He's won loads of headers. A proper centre half and a proper centre half's performance, and it needed it today because they really chucked kitchen sinkers. They really did. Wednesday had one attack, maybe 65 minutes. Like I said, they really wave after wave after wave attack. It's like bloody Alamo in our box. But we did get one break. And Marvin Johnson put in an absolutely fantastic cross, and it just needed a touch. Any touch that would have gone in. One of them, as it fizzed across, you were like, go on. And I don't even know if there was anyone in there. But it just needs a touch. Manny Gascoigne in 96, just, somebody get outstretched toe on it. But that was a rare attack. Poor old Cadamartri. Update on his Todd, working his socks off, but absolutely feeding off scraps, and to be fair to him, he's a young lad. He's given him a bit of a rough time at back, despite the fact he'd gotten out. He's trying to get up for headers, he's trying to alt ball up, and it was hard for him. It weren't really sticking up there with him, but we weren't finding him with any accuracy. What we were sort of doing is flipping 50-50s at him and saying, see if you can do out with that, But he's put a right shift in. But they've all put a right shift in because we didn't hardly see out at ball. Danny Rull makes a triple sub Bannon off. I think that was common sense. I thought Baz was having a good game, but there was so much defending, and he's 34, whatever it is. He ran his arse off today. So he came off for backing. So bit of a surprise that he's not really featured much, and he's got that sort of laid back approach to football, and he's it's a nice footballer but a bit of a stroller from what we've seen previously from him. Is this the sort of game where you'd bring him in? Not really had much choice. Volks has gone off injured. Bannon's starting to look a little bit tired. And fair play to him, he was getting a foot in him, had a really good slide tackle at one bit that I didn't know he'd got in him. And there was a bit of maybe 5 minutes from end, he got ball. He could have gone for an easy option, but he absolutely streaked diagonally, right across pitch, taking all time up, you see, right up right hand side. Brilliant thing to do at that stage of the game. Thought Fletcher put a shift in. And it was only really when Wednesday made them triple subs that we had like a little 5 minute spell, and it probably were only 5 minutes where we were using ball a bit better. And Preston were having to think a little bit, but they soon twigged what was happening, and then from Needle going like that, it went right back down again, and they really put foot to the floor on gas, and like I said, that last 10 minutes or so, I'm watching from behind a pillar. They brought Evans on. I forgot he was still playing actually. Glad he's not playing for us. He looked though like he were going to get his head on something. It's one of few that Bernard and the Heck we didn't sweep up. Just sneaked over heads of him, but Dawson come. Fantastic catch. Got a bit of a bang doing so. But it wasn't the first either, because they, like I said, they put a lot of crosses in box today, and I bet Dawson's come and took 10 or 12 really good catches, which I think most people would say is probably the part of his game that makes you go, you know what I mean? Out of all different aspects of goalkeeping, I think probably he's coming and catching stuff is probably an area where you wince a bit, but fantastic today. Really come and was strong and positive. And when you're having a bit of a rough time of it, facing a load of crosses is the last thing you want to do. But he probably did one after about 5 minutes, start at game. And it just I think it just gave him that bit of confidence, and he kept coming, and like I said, second half especially, some really good takes. He took one raid off that big centre forward's head, Osmic, something like that. And right at death, he come and took one, got clattered and all. He's had a very good game, Dawson. Not only were he taking his catches well, game management, I think all them little tips from Stockdale last season on training ground, I think they were all paying off today. He got a booking for his troubles actually with his winding clock down, but do what you've got to do to get 3 points. I think he's had a really good game, Dawson, and on a personal level I'm absolutely delighted for him, because he does make mistakes, he does, but I think the level of criticism that he gets for them mistakes is quite often up at top. All keepers make mistakes. Like I said last week, I've seen England's #1 goalkeeper make heaps of mistakes, Hillsborough, but there weren't the scrutiny that there is now. There weren't the scrutiny where, folks will slow motion through video at 5% speed looking at things to pull him on, He's had a good game today. Good game, pleased for him. 77 minutes, they post. It's outside at post, and I think, to be fair to him, I do think Dawson had got it covered. He was down quick and low, and I think if he'd not gone wide and clipped outside at post, I think he got it covered. But that was a substitute they brought on, Frackyard or something. Bit of a mardy ass. Mither didn't referee all along, which got him a booking in end, because he mithered just that little bit too much, It's interesting with female referee, because it might sound a bit sexist, but I did wonder, and generally not particularly in this game, I did wonder if having female referees we might see a bit less back chat, because when it's all blokes out there in heat at the moment, it's easy to, you twat, you know what I mean? And I did wonder, having a female referee, whether there might be that little bit more, you don't want a bit wanker to woman. But no, that didn't seem to affect him at all. So I think Potts got one and all. He got a bucket, and they were all for lip. And frankly, although I don't think she's had a great game, with a decision I'll come to later, and she did miss a blatant Preston corner. Clearly one of Wednesday lads nutted it out, and I don't think she was looking actually. But despite that, I don't think she's had a great game. I do like to see folks getting booked when they be mouthy bastards. So, yeah. Crank, something like that. Anyway, he did post. 85 minutes, like I said, decisions, I don't. One at Wednesday lads goes in for the tackle. I think it might be Johnson actually. Eager slide. He's tired legs. He goes to ground Johnson. and because it's a tired tackle. Better staying on his feet, but he slides in, don't get there. Their lad manages to get ball out to his mate, and Byers comes in. I don't even think he's late. I think just their lad deals with ball really well and sort of wrong sides him. He catches him a little bit, Red card. It's probably not a yellow for me. Honestly, I don't know. It's a red. Yellow at absolute worst. But I actually thought Johnson's tackle half a second before on their right winger, I thought that was more worthy of a yellow, and yet didn't get out, and Byers has got a red, which, I mean, unless I see it again, but at the time, like I said, I'm not even sure it's a yellow, never mind a red. Ride at death. Old cum guzzler Evans sneaks into the box, and Dawson does really well. He's gone in there, and he can easily get hurt in there. He goes down where studs are flying, and he can get damaged in there. It's a really brave stop from Evans as he's chucked him sending. And I think it just highlighted what a good game he's had today. A brave game, coming for stuff, going low and getting in amongst studs. So that final whistle went, and Wednesday lads looked out on their feet. I'm not kidding, I was sat here, I was out on my feet, because that second half, it were just wave after wave after wave of Preston. And apparently Dave fans have been on Lowe's back a bit, and he's had a bit of a chunter back at them, and they're not on a great run, but I think if they play like that every week, he'll soon win them round again, because I thought they were decent value to get some at Preston today. And albeit you can say they're playing a Wednesday side that's struggling, so they should dominate, but I thought they played really well. But I think it highlights how well Wednesday played defensively. Going forward didn't offer much. But a really resolute display. I mean, the one bit I counted 10 players in our box. And Hekwe, he's my man at match. I thought he was colossal today. Like I said, I've been calling him to come into the side for weeks on end, so I'm pleased to see him anyway, but he then backs up that faith that I've sort of believed in him with by putting in a great display. And he's not had 10 games this season, a Hekwe, but he's coming today, Ed, but just volleying stuff away, not, I'll take it on the chest and try and be Franz Beckenbauer, do you know what I mean? Just come in, bang, away. And it's not pretty, but where we are in table, it don't have to be pretty, does it? It has to win. It has to be winning football, not pretty football. And I don't care how many times it goes in back at stands. If we can get another 10-1-0 wins between that end of the season, I'll be quite happy. Do you know what I mean? They've all put a shift in, a right shift defensively, and mentally it's hard. It's really hard mentally when you're defending solidly for 45 minutes like that. Like I said, apart from a 5-minute window when we made subs, defending 45 minutes, that takes some right resolute thinking and focus to do that, because it's hard and it's bloody boring as well. When you're a footballer, it doesn't matter what position you play, you want to see a bit at ball. You want to be thinking forward, don't you? Not just tracking runners for the whole game. So really pleased with effort and commitment lads have put in today. Also glad because Rotherham have only drawn, they got pegged back, and QPR's only drawn. So when we'd got the lead, I was like, oh, hang on, and we did, thank God. Huddersfield's lost as well, so massive 3 points today. Like I said, ugly performance, yeah. Effective performance, yeah. And that's what we're after at this stage. Don't have to be good looking, has to be effective, and it was. Yeah, Rotherham, they took a 1-0 home lead against Sunderland, Clucas with goal, but then Jack Clark, 15 minutes to go, just over late equaliser for them, pulling 2 points out of Rotherham's pocket there. Huddersfield, they lost 84th minute winner for Middlesbrough, Johnny Howson. And Ipswich 0, QPR 0. I mean, good result for Wednesday that QPR didn't get a win, but equally, from QPR's point of view, you'd say that's a point gained rather than 3 points lost. And of course, the most important thing, how does that affect the table? But Wednesday now on 19 points, touching distance of Queen's Park Rangers. In fact, if we can get a win and they get a defeat, we can actually overtake them for the first time. We can get up onto 22 points. And again, depending on results, maybe we could be as little as 3 points behind Huddersfield then. There's a lot of points still up for grabs here, and this is far, far from over. As I said, tough watch, but points in the bag and a clean sheet. I love a clean sheet, me. Love a clean sheet. So, tough watch. Like heart were pounding. Very, very difficult watch, but well earned. Brilliantly defended. Strong goalkeeping. Brilliant performance from centre halves. And of course, taking opportunities when they came. We didn't create many opportunities in game, but when we did, Marvin Johnson, he's come up with goods with a calm, relaxed finish. Just got to keep doing it. And like I said about, 2 weeks back, 3 weeks back, and no it's changed since then. For Wednesday to have a chance, we've got to be on them levels every single week and hope other teams have a bad day. It's not going to happen every week. We are going to lose games. That's inevitable, But if we can keep working to these levels, keep working as hard as we're working, keep putting in that level of performance, that level of work rate, we've got a chance. And like I said, Danny Roll, if we can do a little bit of business in January, who knows? I'm saying January, like window's going to open and we're going to sign somebody that day. Do you know? It don't work like that, does it? Window opens and it's always like, call me when there's 5 minutes to go. Do you know what I mean? Because that's when all business happens, isn't it? But yeah, looking at table, more and more positive every week, and I'm hoping that as we plough into 2024, Wednesday can do it. Heard the humming of the Great Escape theme today from Wednesday fans. What support that is down there, by the way. 5,100 and something. Unbelievable. Fantastic. You could hear noise all the way through and all. That's honestly, all the way through, it's all you could hear. And despite the fact that in terms of possession, in terms of a contest, we weren't really laying a glove on Preston, but tremendous backing. And I do wonder what manager thinks of it. We're bottom at table, or have been bottom at table, and he's getting that level of support. He's really won everybody over, Danny Roll, and you can see players are playing for him. But final whistle, he's out there fist pumping. I know it doesn't mean out in big scheme. I think, oh, does it? He's out there fist pumping, and Bannon, who's been subbed off, and I'm a little bloke myself. I can be quite mardy when things aren't going my way, but he's been subbed off, Baz. He comes flying out at bench, hugging manager, and celebrating when, even though he's been subbed off, and there is that, they've got that look that they're all in it together, and that's what we need if we've got to have any chance of doing this. So fans are on board, players are on board, we all stick together. Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. Anyway, I'll not see you beforehand. So hope you've enjoyed your Christmas. Hope you've enjoyed this Christmas 3 points that we've got at Preston. I didn't enjoy the game, but enjoy the result and the points in the bag. have a good New Year's Eve. Enjoy your sins there. Be careful. Every New Year's Day morning you pick paper up, there's been something gone off somewhere. Don't get involved in any bollocks, will you? Just go out and have a nice time. And I'll see you in 2024. It's 5:05 in the morning. I'm not... I was listening to the radio earlier while I was just making some notes for this, and they've got a phone in. On. Probably about 5 I listened to. Crackpots, all of them. And I was sat here and you just muttering to yourself, and I was listening to that while I was making some notes. I said, they're all nutters, these lot. All these weirdos who stay up right late at night, they're not right in head. And then I twigged. Okay, now that's me. Anyway, I'm blathering. That's because I am knackered now. Right. See you later. Have a good New Year. And I'll see you in 2024 for a whole game. Have a good one.